For any startup planning to expand into the Canadian market, I think it's important to understand the Canadian culture, how things work in this country, the jurisdictional differences between the provincial level, national level, and even idiosyncrasies by regions. It's a large country, it's very diverse, and there are microcultures even across different parts of the country. Hi, I'm Robert Wong. I'm a retired executive from Toronto Hydro, having spent over 35 years of my career in the electric utility sector. Some of the challenges that startups face when they try to expand into the Canadian market is just understanding the culture, and that we tend to have a bit of a conservative risk tolerance. We're typically try to act in a responsible and safe manner. We're not as risk takers and be on the leading edge, and the whole Silicon Valley mantra, fail fast and move forward and disrupt and break things. We're a little bit more orderly, try to do things in a more of a pace manner and responsible manner, and ultimately look for success, but the pace in this country is a bit different than perhaps south of the border. The energy sector in Canada, we're going through a big transformation. Canada as a whole, we're largely green when it comes to electricity. We have the geography and the resources that there's a lot of hydroelectric, but we also have a lot of nuclear, at least in Ontario and New Brunswick. But we've also been on the journey towards zero carbon, no fossil fuels. And in Ontario, we eliminated coal generation, electricity generation plants back in 2014. And we're 90% green energy here. And so, but there's also a huge push to get rid of the rest of the emitting resources. And so we're going through this transition of electrification and getting rid of fossil fuels and decarbonizing. And so huge need to increase the amount of electric supply and capacity all across the country. There's a huge demand for more growth and more capacity and energy of electricity right across the country, and I know specifically in Ontario that's one of the key economic drivers, is having this huge supply. We call it an energy superpower, where we can not only supply the province but also export to other jurisdictions. The regulatory environment differs in different areas of Canada. Energy is a provincial or territorial jurisdiction. The structure and the model differs from province to province. In Ontario, for instance, there is a regulator, but there's also independent grid operator, the IESO, that manages the operations of the grid, as well as the markets involving the generators and the consumers. In terms of the regulatory framework, the utilities have to apply to the regulator to get the funding to support their capital and maintenance programs. And so there's a high level of expectations and requirements to demonstrate the need and the value to the ratepayers, that the regulator, to allow the regulator to approve those requests for funding. And there's a very rigorous process that each applicant has to go through to get and secure that kind of funding. And so there's a huge emphasis on having a strong argument and strong case, a business case to demonstrate the value for ratepayers. I think for a startup, in terms of understanding the market, whether it's the size or the depth of the market. Like I mentioned earlier, there's a conservatism in Canada, and so pace is a bit of an issue. Utilities and the Canadian companies in general show me that it works. Show me first, convince me, and they're less prone to take, a leap of faith or even code development. The lesson learned is, they want to see tested and proven technologies and innovations, and always, look for references. Where has it been done, and where has it been done well? Can we speak to somebody there that have shown, seen positive outcomes and results? So I think it's important for startups to have those reference points where they have seen success to really, provide a convincing story and argument that you're a reliable and viable product and service to provide.